Management. Management is hard. Management is scary. It's impenetrable. It's confusing. Sometimes it seems like it doesn't make sense. It's really different from what we're used to as operations engineers. It's really different work. It takes a whole different set of skills that we have never worked on. Yet, many of us have been or will be thrown into management. I was an ops engineer. My name is Alex Nobert. I started out doing the devs and the ops a long, long time ago. Eventually, though, I found myself building an ops team, and I had no idea what I was doing. But I figured it out as I went. And the fact that I'm unemployed right now, notwithstanding, I think I did a pretty good job about it. I think people were happy about it. Their companies did not fall apart because of me. But it was tough. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was expected of me. I was kind of winging it like I'm doing right now with this presentation. So, you're an ops person. You do the DevOps. You've been doing the DevOps for a few years now. It's going well. Maybe you're a senior engineer. One day, if I were to ask you, what is your career aspiration? Where do you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years? What would you answer? For me, it was something like, career aspirations, ? So maybe you've actually given some thought to your career progression. Maybe you've concluded that the obvious path up is to become a manager. A lot of people, that's the only thing they even think about. If you've even started to think about it, you're way ahead of most people. You're way ahead of where I was when my thought process, when I became a manager. For me, it was more like this. Crap. Now, the sad part about tech is, or unfortunate anyways, is, especially in startups, this is way too common. We fall into management. We are suddenly, I'm managing people. I'm responsible for people's careers now. And often, I've been put in that position by another manager who also has no management training or experience. They have no idea what they're doing, so I can't look to them for guidance. No expertise, no training. We're just everyone's figuring it out as we go. It's like the blind leading the engineers. And you're probably thinking, oh God, what have I gotten myself into? And that's the question. What are you getting yourself into? Why should you want to become a manager? Why would anyone want to become a manager? What would you be doing? Will you like it? Can you even do it? Can you succeed at it? What the hell are you getting yourself into? First, let's talk about some bad reasons for becoming a manager. And there are a lot of them. Management is not real work. This is a lie, dog. This is such a lie. Management is work. It's a lot of work. It's hard work. It's challenging work. It's different work than what we're used to, but it's work, and it takes a lot of getting used to. But trust me when I say that, it's work. I want to boss people around, jerk dog. Most of us have been around a power-hungry manager whose ambition is based on being the boss. If all you want is power, you're going to be a terrible manager. No one's going to like you. Your peers won't like you. Your teams will be ineffective. You will struggle with retention. People will leave. Don't do it for the wrong reasons. Yet somehow, some of these people will still go up anyways. But I won't like them. It's the only way to advance my career. This is sadly true at a lot of companies, and particularly at startups or companies who aren't mature enough or who don't have HR departments who are thinking about this all day and making career tracks for people. But it really ought not to be the case. And there are other tracks for people. And enlightened companies and enlightened managers can help make that a reality. Good reasons to become a manager. There are a lot of really good reasons. I could probably spend like 45 extra seconds in what I'm about to talk about. I like making people happy. I like making people happy. One of the things that drives me, one of the things I love about being a manager is that I get to not control, but I get to enable people to do work that they like and to be happy and to be happy about the situation that they're in. As a manager, one of your top priorities should be to keep people happy. And it benefits the company. Happy people means more effective work. Unhappy people means their output is worse and they'll leave. I want to affect positive change. As a manager, as a leader, you will have the power and the opportunity to push forward important projects for the company. You can help the company succeed and to grow and to shape a positive and inclusive culture. In short, your work will have a significant impact, and you can leave the company and the people in a better place than when you arrived. No one should ever say this. This is a lie. Do not trust anyone who says this. This is crazy. Meetings serve a purpose, but meetings for the sake of meetings are bad. I don't know why this dog is there. Maybe a better way to look at it is as a manager, what am I going to be doing all day? And what won't I be doing all day? And will I like that? First, let's talk about what you won't do. Managers do not do this. I mean, perhaps this slide should have said what managers probably aren't going to do, but might do depending on the size of the company you're at. But that was too long. It's true that at startups you will wear many hats, and maybe you'll still log into servers as a manager. But I think in the perfect world, managers are managing. That's what you're there for. You are empowering people. So you're a manager. You're not coding anymore. You're not logging into servers. You're not fixing broken things. You're not playing with the latest technology you saw at a talk at Velocity. You aren't implementing the DevOps you bought from a vendor in the expo hall. So what do you do? The short answer is you do meetings. You do meetings, lots of meetings. You have to be really, really, really okay with talking to people, with navigating the politics, the various teams and the managers above you and around you. They'll be getting pulled in many different directions. Everyone has a project that they think is the most important one and should be done first. You will be making project plans and slides and budgets, timelines. You'll hire people, you'll fire people, you'll promote people, hopefully. You'll deal with a lot of feelings. Basically, you're doing a whole bunch of things that you probably did not do any of as an engineer. And you will not be doing engineering. I know some of you are thinking, and I think I thought, no, not for me. That sounds terrible. I got into engineering because I like doing the engineering. And now you're saying I can't do it anymore. It does. It's nothing like engineering. That's true. It's not necessarily bad, though. Management is a whole different set of skills. And you just spent the last few years of your career cultivating your engineering skills. And now you're being asked to forget all about all of those things because now you're a manager. You have a whole new set of responsibilities. And you have to cultivate a whole new set of skills. And I don't know, you went to school for engineering and you've been working on it a long time. And now here you are, you're in a more impactful role. You have more pressure on you, and you have no training, and you start today. So it's another great Silicon Valley disruption. oops, maybe it's not for you, and that's okay. It's okay to not want to be a manager. It's okay to not want to be a team lead and lead people and be responsible for their careers and think about all the things that at a higher level that you never had to deal with. That's okay. Your company can provide tracks for you that are IC individual contributor tracks, and you should be able to keep moving up as an engineer. That's okay. And I know not all companies are at that point yet, but they're out there, and hopefully your company will get to that point too. And also, it's okay to change your mind later. Management opportunities will always be out there. But it's too late. Alex, I screwed up. I was coming to this talk, and someone out in the hall stopped me, and now I'm a manager. And in like 20 minutes, I got to do some management stuff. What do I need to know? Well. One, your priorities are different. I think maybe a better way of saying that is prioritizing is now a lot more complex. So you know, as an engineer, it's easy. Prioritizing is easy. Your manager comes to you and says, "Hey, we need to get this thing done. Go have a meeting with this other team. They'll tell you what's up. You come back to me. Maybe you tell me if it can be done by Thursday. If it can be done by Thursday, do it by Thursday. That's it. That's all you have to do." If you have a problem, take it to the manager. Manager will fix it, no problem. You don't know what goes on up there. Just some stuff. It's all good. When you're up there, you're the manager, you have a lot of priorities. You'll find yourself being pulled in many different directions all at the same time. Your senior management will have your strategic initiatives. That might be a data center move. That might be implementing the DevOps or getting this new feature deployed by Thursday. Your peers on other teams, managers, other product teams, they all have their own projects that they want to get done. They all need some of your time, some of your team's time. All of their projects are the most important thing. How do you prioritize that? You probably have your own things, like, oh, well, there's another OpenSSL bug. We've got to do that. How do you prioritize those things? And while that's happening, you have a whole team that you have to keep an eye on. Are they on track with what they're doing right now? Are they happy? Is anyone getting burnt out? Who keeps putting Emacs on all the servers? And you have to know those things. And you have to keep all of those things in your mind and figure out what gets done when. Oops. You have to push back. So you have all these competing priorities, all these people asking for your time. You are going to have to push back. As an engineer, your pushback was, well, can't get it done by Thursday. There's a lot more people you're pushing back against now. You want to move to the cloud, can't do it by June, has to be July. Future team wants to deploy this thing tomorrow. Well, we're not ready to deploy it tomorrow. Engineers on the team, well, they don't want to work the weekend. Well, maybe you have to because it's a crunch, because we got to do the DevOps. We know there's DevOps deployed by Monday. As you climb the ladder, you go up from manager to senior manager to director. You become more engaged and involved in the higher level decision processes. And your team is going to count on you to advocate for them. And sometimes you're going to have to fight for them. You have to be able to present compelling arguments. You have to make your case. You have to make maybe you make a nice slide deck with dogs on it. But you have to, you have to be able to state your arguments clearly. You have to have data behind it at a level that you might not have, you definitely didn't do as an engineer. You will be asked questions constantly and all sorts of different questions from all sorts of different avenues, not just about that one thing you're working on. The corollary to this is you also have to have the right answer all the time. So you'll be the point of contact for your team. You'll be responsible for all of your team's projects. And those projects will have a lot of people interested in their outcomes. They will want to know how it's going. How is that project going to affect my project? If it's late, do I have to change anything? People are going to ask you about those. They're going to want to know. So get used to answering those. And you have to be able to explain and defend any work that it might cause for the other people. So keep on top of it. But it is important to know that you don't always have to have the right answer right away. It's okay to say, I don't know now. I don't know right now, but I'll figure it out. As long as you actually do figure it out. And get back to them in a timely manner. The more you're responsible for, the more unrealistic it is for you to keep everything in your head at the same time. So don't make it up. Don't say, oh, yeah, it'll be fine. Find out if it's going to be fine. If it's not fine, let them know. You're surrounded by smart people. Your team and the people on the other teams are all smart, and they're there for you. You have an entire team that you can talk to. Each of them will have some expertise. They'll have breadth or depth of knowledge in an area or areas that you don't have or you have time to cultivate. So they'll be able to get answers or come to smart conclusions much more quickly than you. So ask them, lean on them, delegate. You have questions, feel them to your engineers. Ask them for advice. You have assumptions, run it by them. Hey, thinking about the DevOps, what do you think? They'll feel more engaged with the process being all that stuff that happens above them that they don't know about normally, kind of nebulous things that happen and have big impacts on them, but they don't know. You can keep them engaged by just asking them. And you'll benefit by always being right. Communication is key emoji. A big part of being an effective manager is being an effective communicator. Be a proactive communicator. Keep everyone updated. No surprises. People hate surprises. Don't wait for your team to tell you things are going sideways. Don't let a junior engineer get stuck in the weeds forever. Ask them how they're doing. Ask them what you can do to help. Engineers are notoriously bad communicators, so don't wait. They'll wait way longer than they should, to surface problems or to ask questions or admit that, I don't know what I'm doing. It's okay, it's okay to not know what you're doing. But go get them, go ask them, how's it going? Can I help you? This doesn't mean micromanage them. Just means keep an eye on things, keep yourself informed, keep involved. Provide visibility. If a project is slipping, plan changes. If you just haven't provided an update recently, let people know what's going on. People don't know what's going on because they're humans. They will imagine the worst possible thing, and they'll worry, and bad things will happen. You don't want people to worry. You want people to trust you and trust that things are going okay. And if bad things are happening, don't cover it up. Do not hide it. This is one of the hardest lessons that I've had to learn in my career. As an ops person, it tends to be you see a problem, you fix it. You don't even need to tell anyone, I can fix it, no problem. And as you have a bigger scale, if you have more responsibility, you have more people on your team, more problems to deal with, sometimes that means you can't fix the problem. Even if you can, it doesn't matter. Let people know. Nobody wants surprises. Let them know what to expect. Oh, if the site's a little slow, let them know. Let them know why. Even if you're on top of it, keep them in the loop. And then if something does go wrong, they're not surprised. They prepared for it. Everything should have an owner. What I mean is, every server, every service, every application, every repo has an owner, a team or a person who is the authority knows how it works, is responsible for it working the way it's supposed to. Take any guesswork out of who to talk to. If you need to make a change to it, if something is not working right, we just know. It is that team. It's really important when something breaks. There's a fire, chaos, everyone is running around with their hair on fire, freaking out. Oh God, the website's down because the checkout isn't working well. Who do we talk to? Who knows the checkout? Well, the checkout team should know the checkout. Let's page them. Take any of the guesswork out. Don't make people have to work to figure out who to talk to. Everything has an owner. Graduate your people. I'm really proud of this. You moved up the ranks to senior engineer. Maybe you moved over to management. You probably want to keep moving up. Everyone on your team deserves to have the same opportunity to follow that path or to create their own path. Maybe you figured it out by yourself and you fought for it and you did it by yourself. But that doesn't mean that they have to. You can make it easy for them. Your goal should be to make it easy for them. Should be to help people achieve their goals. You should take pride in that. Set goals and expectations. The first step, obviously, is to figure out what the goal is. So you're going to want to talk with everyone on your team and say, well, what are your career aspirations? And they'll go, career aspirations. And you might have to lay out what the possibilities are. Well, you can become a manager. Well, we have distinguished engineer tracks, so maybe you want to do that. Maybe you want to write your own programming language. Well, I don't know. Figure out what it is they want to do, and figure out how that fits in the framework of your company. Is there a role for somebody who is the world expert on Elasticsearch? Well, I don't know. We use Elasticsearch a lot. That'd be pretty cool. So figure out what it is and how to get them there, what that looks like. And then set expectations. Specify what it means to be successful. How do I get to that point? What skills do I have to cultivate? What things do I have to learn? What leadership qualities do I have to display? Set those so that everyone knows there's no mistaking what it is. And then, once we know where we have to get to, review it regularly. Have your reviews, your one-on-ones, so they know how far along they are. What do I have to work on? And keep it up. Make sure that they are staying on track. Or maybe the track changes. Maybe they decide, oh, you know what? Elasticsearch, actually, I don't want to do that. That's okay. As long as everyone is has the same goal. We're all working towards the same thing. And once we know, then you can help them. Culture, this is a big one. As a leader, you have a big hand in shaping the company culture. The further up the ranks you climb, the more impact you can have. Might start with the culture of your own team, but as you go up the ladder, as your influence in the company grows, you can have an impact on the entire company. Your culture should be for everyone. The most important thing to remember, that not everyone's going to be exactly like you. Your culture should be one that is good for everyone. Create an environment that is inclusive, that celebrates diversity. Allow people to feel safe enough to open up, to talk to you if anything is wrong, to talk to other people if anything is wrong. Hire people who don't look like you. Don't share your background. Teach people to be empathetic, to be considerate of others. Step in if you see problematic behavior. It doesn't matter how senior this engineer is, how great they are at Ruby. Stop it. You cannot allow problematic behavior. Bring in a diversity consultant to teach people and yourself how you can do better. I promise you can do better. Leading by example normalizes your actions. As a leader, for better or for worse, your actions set a standard for the people around you. That means if you stay late, if you work the weekend, people on your team are going to see that, and they're going to think, I should stay late, I should work the weekends. Maybe they're keeping up. Maybe they're just keeping up appearances, but we can't do less than the boss. We don't want to look bad. But you work 8 hours, you go home, you take your 3 to 4 weeks of vacation, you talk about what you did in your spare time, celebrate spending time at home, away from work. Makes it okay for your team to do that too. What I'm saying is log off. Not just you, but make sure your team logs off. Send them home or kick them off chat. Create an environment where people feel safe, leaving work at a reasonable hour. Not only do they feel safe, but they're expected to. You'll have healthy and happy people instead of frustrated and grumpy and burnt out people. After the burnout panel I was on in Velocity, New York, somebody asked me about this. He said, well, Alex, I just love working so much. And it doesn't impact anyone because I don't expect anyone to, and my boss doesn't expect anyone to work all that time. I just want to work. There's no problem with that. But that's not true. And it might be true that you're not directly competing with people on your team. But when it comes time to do evaluations, and person A has been working 10 extra hours a week working on this really great side project, and person B has a family and went home on the weekend instead, well, person A had way higher output, a great impact, and person B, well, didn't. Maybe person A gets a raise or a promotion. You have these downstream effects that you have to think about, and it's cool that people want to work more. Like, we talk about hiring people who are really passionate about doing the work, but you have to consider the impact on the rest of the team. So what I said to him was, it's cool that you love working. Actually, it's great, but maybe work on a side project in your spare time instead. Like, think about the other people. So as a manager, you can enforce that. I've always hired people who love working, but that doesn't mean I want them to work all the time. I want them to love the time that they're spending at work, but Friday at 5 o'clock, go home, man. Spend time with the family. Make some slides with dogs on it. Some of management is actually kind of crappy. I won't lie. It's true. You have to know what you're getting yourself into. Some of it is really terrible. Spreadsheets are really terrible. As an engineer, you probably thought, I'm safe, man. I got in a career path that I don't have to use spreadsheets. This is great. But then you get into management. Oops. Here I am, working on the hosting budget for Q4. It's a big spreadsheet. Don't like it. I'm sorry, but it's true. Get used to it. There's a support group for it. The bar. Prepare to get real friendly with vendors. You will be very, very popular when you become a manager. Your reps will call and email you all the time. Oh, we noticed your usage pattern changed. Could get you a good deal. That's nice. Oh, we have this new feature out. You might like it. Got a lot of calls. The fun really happens when you get on a qualified leads list. All sorts of people are going to call you then. So figure out Gmail filters is what I'd say to that. But for the record, the vendors here, awesome. They're all wonderful people. I love you all. Firing people is tough. The worst. Capital T, capital W, the worst. The only thing I can say about firing people that might help is to be honest with people, be upfront about what you expect of them. I mean, expectations are very important. Things aren't going well, have that honest conversation. This is what we expect of someone who is successful at this company. And this is where you're at right now. Give them a second chance. Be honest. Like, if you want to keep going, this is the expectation. And if they don't do it, then you gave us no choice but to fire you. I'm sorry. It's hard. I always considered firing people is a personal failure, because I'd hired the wrong person. But even that's not necessarily the case. Like, you can't know. And sometimes the company is just not right for the person. But yeah, it's tough. There's nothing more you can say about it. That having been said, management, pretty good, pretty fun. Can be very rewarding. You just kind of have to reorient yourself around your new role, what the expectations are, what your goals are, and what it is that you celebrate. Take pride in your team's accomplishments. So you might not be single-handedly saving the day when production goes down. You might not be deploying some amazing new feature. You didn't get to implement the DevOps, but your team will be. That's great. That's awesome. Celebrate that. Your team's accomplishments, you had a part in that. You didn't commit the code. You didn't do the code review. But the work you did enabled them to be the best that they could be. And they deploy this awesome stuff. They have a new feature that's really amazing. Celebrate that. It feels good. You should get to share in all of that now. Actually, it's kind of better because you have like 10 people doing the work that you get to celebrate and you can feel good about, instead of just your own long slog through implementing something horrible. Grow careers. Take pride in that. Remember how you felt when you were promoted. Hopefully you've been promoted. That's a great feeling. It feels great. You had a cupcake after, and you went out and you celebrated. Well, you got to put in the work that helped other people feel like that. And that's great. You should share in that. You should celebrate that. Growing people is amazing. And maybe they grew out of your company and they went on to become managers or directors at other companies. That's awesome. It's like in football, there's like the coaching tree. I want a management tree. I want people who worked under me to go out and become managers themselves. And maybe when I'm unemployed giving a talk, they'll hire me. Improve company culture. So you help to build culture that is inclusive, it's diverse, treats people like people who have families and lives outside of work. Everyone is happy. It's great. They go home early. They hang out together after work, except it's, at the beach and not in the office. So many lives are better. Management is awesome. You did that. Management's scary. It is impactful. It's challenging. It's rewarding. It's not for everyone, but it might be for you. If it is, be the manager your team deserves. Be the manager your team needs. That's it. That's all I got. I'd love to talk about management. I talk about management a lot. I didn't realize it until people started asking me about it. I don't like using the word passion very much, but I'm at least passionate enough to have come up here and given a talk about it. I feel really strongly about some things, and I feel really strongly about promoting a good culture, about treating people like people, not resources. And I like happy people, and if that's a thing you're interested in talking about, and maybe I'm wrong. I mean, big disclaimer, I might not know what I'm talking about. But I would love to talk about it. And if you have any views, hit me up. I'm on Twitter. I'm on the twitter.com. I'm here now. My DMs are open. That's my email address. I'd like to add you to my professional network on LinkedIn. And that's it. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you for that, Alex. We have 5 minutes, so if somebody has questions, we'll take hands. I have a hand.
you had mentioned that firing people is hard. I'm curious what you think of Netflix's sort of public model of they don't do PIPs, they don't do kind of that conversation where it's like you have a second chance. They kind of have the conversation and it's like you get a severance package by. I'm curious what you think of that model as opposed to the let's do the paperwork and give you the second 6-month chance. And so that's part A. And then part B is have you ever had that, if you've had to do that, like put someone on PIP, have you ever had that work out where they fix it? And
Part the A, I think Netflix is extreme, but the people who go to Netflix knew what they were getting themselves into. Like, they're very upfront about that. You have to be a top performer, you're out. So, I mean, that's part of the package of working at Netflix. I'm not on board with it, but the people who work there surely have at least accepted that. So that's fine. Part the B, have I had a performance plan work? The answer is yes, I have. Now, it didn't stick super long term. Like, there's a reason a person is on a performance plan. So it, there was a recurrence, but yeah, it did work for a while, and it was great. But it's up to the person to want to keep up with it, and they don't always.
How long is the optimal period for the PIP?
That's a good question. I don't know that I have an answer for that. I mean, I would talk to HR about it when it comes down to it. But I mean, I guess kind of broadly, I would say, as long as you're seeing improvements, keep it up. Like, if the improvements stop, or if there never were improvements, or it just drops off, like, 14 or 30 days or whatever is maybe whatever the standard is. I don't really know. But I would say maybe they're not meeting it day 14, but if it's trending upwards, I would say keep it up, because it's worth it. I really believe it's worth giving people the opportunity. And maybe like an arbitrary date, I think is not super necessary.
Just wondering if you have any advice for not necessarily the people below you, but if the culture around and above you in management is maybe toxic, overtly politicized in bad ways. Do you have any advice for those sorts of situations?
Like, if the management is toxic, you're kind of in a rough spot. All I could say is, have the conversation, be honest, and hopefully the toxic managers or whatever are capable of introspection, and like, if it comes down to it, maybe an ultimatum. I know I said it during the panel, the burnout panel last year. Like, what do you do if you're in that situation? And I said, just quit. And I know that not everyone can, but we're lucky to be largely very employable. Again, the fact that I'm unemployed notwithstanding. We have this tremendous mobility, and ops people can work remotely. It's really hard to hire ops people. I would say, like, listen, this is toxic. I can't abide by it. I'm going to leave, and I'm probably not going to be the only person who's going to leave. And if word gets out, you're going to have a hard time hiring people. Like, maybe you're only going to hire toxic people, and you're cool with that. But I don't know. I just say, have the conversation, be honest. And be brave. I mean, that's a tough conversation to have, because the balance of power there is not in your favor.
Okay, we have time for one last question.
So in your management career, what has helped you the most? You've reached a point where you could present, what they should do and what it is like. What do you think has helped you the most?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think part of it is that I'm too dumb to realize I shouldn't be doing this. I don't know. I mean, I just continued success. Like, people on my teams have been happy with the job I've been doing. They've tried to hire me back to be their boss at their new companies, which is tremendously gratifying. So I feel like, there have been enough indicators that I'm on the right path. That I feel comfortable and confident enough to get up here and talk about it. And I guess part two of that is like dogs like really make me less stressed out. I think I got burnt out early in my management career, and working through that, I reflected on it and was introspective and thought about what worked and what didn't work, and kind of came back to it with a renewed vigor the second time around, and a better idea of how to make a culture that isn't going to burn people out and that I would be able to survive, but also be proud of. Whenever I get stressed out, I just like pet my dogs. I guess the other part of that is, I'm kind of rambling, having the confidence to just step away. Maybe it's like take a walk for an hour or something like that, but step away and reflect. And I mean, I don't think I've ever been a person who's particularly combative or anything like that, but step away and try to see the other side and empathize. And I don't know. I don't have a really good answer. I'm sorry. Thank you very much, everyone.
On the contrary, I would say that was great.
Thank you.
Let's give it up for Alex.